Hello, good afternoon. Hey there, Fit Pros. Kelly Coulter here. And today we're going to be talking about something really important, something that affects all of us. It's a little bit of a mindset thing, it's a little bit of a lessons thing. We're going to talk about how to create an income that is not dependent on the hours that you are in front of your people. So let me start here. So first, let me say this actually. Come on in, say hello, y'all. When you come in and you say hi to me, it really helps the social media platforms to know that I'm giving you valuable content, and then they will show it to more people. So it's a whole altruistic thing. Come in, make a comment, give me a like, give me a hearts, give me a fire. Tell me if you are excited to talk about ways to create a bigger income without working more hours. So that's what we're going to talk about. The entire time my kids were little, right? The entire time my kids were like pickup size, I can remember I dreaded picking them up. Like every time I would go to pick up a child, or I would go to get on the floor to change a diaper or to play with them or whatever it was, I remember having that thought like, oh God, it's going to hurt because my knees hurt all the time. And y'all, I worked full time outside of the fitness industry. So I was teaching 5 to 10 classes a week. And yes, it was step, which of course was really hard on my knees. But I remember that thought like, this is going to hurt. I would love to hear if you can identify with that. Do you go to pick up your kids or your grandkids and you're like, oh God, it's going to hurt. I'm going to feel this in my knees. Like I would have this thought. And it always occurs to me when I think about how much we work and tear up our bodies in the fitness industry. That's my go-to thought. I always remember how much I would dread picking my kids up because my knees would hurt. How sad is that? So here's the question I've got for you, and I'd love for you to give me an answer in the comments. How much do you love your knee pain? How much do you love your lack of sleep? That's not the real question. The real question is, what ways are you using or thinking about trying in order to increase your income without increasing the number of workouts that you do, or the number of workouts that you lead, or the time that you are in front of your audience? So today we're talking about increasing your income while reducing the number of hours that you actually have to work out with your people. And Tanya says, yeah, I had a nagging shoulder, but I still had to teach. Yes, 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 yes. Same type of thing. I want you to stay to the end today because here's what we're going to talk about, and here's what you're going to take away. I want to talk about the ways that audience development is actually your superpower. I want to talk about the fact that if you are not selling to the right people, if you are not in front of the right people as a fitness professionals, you're actually wasting your time and theirs. And I want to talk about what people want from Peloton and Beachbody On Demand and Les Mills and all of the big box offerings versus what they want from you. I want to talk about how to create and fill a program that serves a specific audience and how that's very different from what we're seeing from the big box offerings. Tanya's saying she only teaches 8 times a month and she has tripled her income. So I love that. And Tanya, we might just dig in on that a little bit toward the end of our lesson because Tanya is one of my accelerators. I need to have you on the show actually. And she is a great example of what is possible for an instructor when you serve the right specific audience and get in there and really serve them correctly. All right, so this is the Fit Pros Business Growth Show. This is the show that I create. It's about building a business that impacts that fitness and health of others while paying you what you deserve and empowering you to live the life of your dreams. I'm Kelly Coulter. I've been a fitness instructor as well as an online marketing geek since the 90s. I believe that as fitness professionals, it is our time to take action to proactively create a healthier population because we all have a unique mix of experiences, expertise, and personality that make us perfect for a specific audience. It's my job to help you find and serve that audience so that you can step away from the gym, serve the clients that you love, and make a real living doing it. Are you ready to make a real impact in the lives of others while creating the life you dream of for yourself and your family? Let's get started. All right. So, at the beginning of my coaching business, I was always out there kind of like throwing these half-assed offers out there, I would say. So I had a big audience, but I was kind of like, I was kind of flailing. I couldn't figure out how to translate that audience into creating a program and creating something that worked for people, right? I really wanted to be coaching fitness instructors on creating a business. I knew how to tell you guys how to bootstrap a business. I knew how to tell you to assemble an audience, but I couldn't figure out what that was all going to look like. And so you would see me in the Grow Your Fitness Business group. I'd be out there talking with you guys and communicating and developing relationships. And then every once in a while, I would like throw this half-assed offer out there. And it didn't work, right? Over and over again, I would just frustrate myself. And I want to talk about that because I want to talk about what finally did work for me. So I was throwing the offer out there. I was just kind of halfway nurturing my audience, halfway getting in front of my audience. And here's why that didn't work. I was playing it small. So I wasn't let me think about this for a second. I want to think about how to tell you guys this. I think there are three things that I did that finally worked. Number one is that I started taking this audience that I do have seriously as the audience that I want to serve. So I drew a line in the sand and I chose that, yes, this is the audience I want to serve, and I need to create a product that serves them. So the first step is that I chose. I stopped saying, I'm going to coach fitness instructors. And then, oh, that didn't work. So next week I'm going to serve, small business owners in Columbia, South Carolina. And then that didn't sell much. So next week I'm going to serve. I stopped switching around and I drew a line in the sand and I said, I am going to sell one thing to one audience. Now I'm still selling that one same thing 2 years later to my one audience. I have not varied from that. And that made such a difference. That made all the difference. Y'all, I want you to listen in and I'm going to dig in on this a little bit more. In the beginning of my coaching business, I couldn't get leverage because I kept changing things. It's not because I didn't have an offer that was going to sell. It wasn't because I wasn't capable of selling it. Now, when things didn't go well, when I wasn't selling what I wanted to sell, it was easy for me to think that that was the problem, that the audience was the problem. And we do that to ourselves, right? So we get in our heads and our brain says, that didn't work, so it's not right, because your brain does not know what it looks like to really have a successful producing audience and a successful offer. And so it's easy for your brain to say, that didn't work, switch it up, switch it up, switch it up, switch it up. But the truth is that you can't get leverage until you dig in. And so I want you to listen really hard on this one because this is a biggie. We're going to talk about this more in the Sell Out Your your 2022 business kickstart next week. If you are not registered, get in there and get registered for that. You have to dig in on your one audience and you have to make one offer to them until it works. And the way that you do that, write that down, y'all. One audience, one offer until it works. And the way that you do that, y'all, is that you dig in and you nurture and you serve and you leverage the power of one to many. So many of us are personal trainers, but more people in this group come from group fitness. And in group fitness, we know very well about leveraging the power of one to many, right? Because one to many means there's one me. I show up, I stand in front of a class, and I do the thing. I do the thing that I know how to do. I teach a yoga class, I teach a step class. I guide 25, 50, 100 people in an effective workout, but it's one me. That's the power of one to many. We know how to do that as instructors. So we have this superpower. We have this ability to bring together an audience and to serve them as one person. That's your superpower. What you have to learn to do is stick with it until it works, because those audience members do not start to pick up what you're laying down when you start to sell something until they've heard it 15, 20 times. The research is saying that people don't start to actually hear what you have to say until they've heard it from you 16 times. We are all inundated with so much advertising and so much social media that it's too easy to ignore a message. So you have to dig in on your one audience. Leverage your power of one to many. That's your superpower. And you have to keep doing it until it works. So that's point number one. Point number one is that we all have a superpower, and that superpower is audience development. And it is your job to stick with your audience and sell them one offer until it works. So your superpower is audience development, and you're going to stick with one audience and you're going to make one offer until it works. And I see the comment, yeah, wow, it is 16 times now. It used to be 7. So think about this. Yes, it is 16 now, and it used to be 7. That's what the research used to say, is that people needed to see a message 7 times. Now it's 16. But you're also not only are you working against that 16 times and against all of the messages from all of your competitors, you're also working against the Facebook algorithm and the LinkedIn algorithm and the YouTube algorithm and the email algorithm, because not all messages get received by everyone in your audience. So that's why it's really important. It's the only way these days to market. You have to deliver one message to one audience, and you have to do it over and over again because they are not all getting it. I see somebody coming up to the door, and I'm afraid, okay, good. He's going to go to the mailbox. Whoo. All right, so that's number one. One audience, one method, one message over and over and over again. Number two, I want to talk about this. If you are not selling to the right audience, you are wasting your time and theirs. So I talk about this a lot in the Sell Out Your 2022 Business Kickstart as well. The idea that broadcasting a general message to a wide audience no longer works. So I talk about this in terms of the cola wars that happened in the 80s and 90s. the cola wars, if you lived during that time, if you grew up during that time, that's when Coke and Pepsi, right, soda drinks, that's when Coke and Pepsi were doing these huge commercials. Every time they came on TV and they wanted to advertise, their commercials would be these huge productions. They would have a mega pop star. There would be a dance number. There would be fireworks. There would be a custom song. I mean, it would be like Michael Jackson, Paula Abdul, like the biggest pop names, and they were either advertising Coke or Pepsi. Now, what that meant is that smaller names, smaller sodas, Dr. Pepper, Tab. Do you remember Tab, y'all? Mountain Dew. They didn't get any visibility because they couldn't compete. They couldn't afford the big pop stars like Paula Abdul, which would be similar to who's a big pop star now. I'm so old. I want to say Christina Aguilera, and that's not it. It's like I don't know, Lil Dicky. If you're younger, I can't think of any of the big pop stars right now. So so they couldn't compete because they couldn't afford the big production numbers that Coke and Pepsi were getting. Ariana Grande, great example. Thank you, Tanya. So what they did instead is they went out and they started to do the research and really start to understand who exactly wants Mountain Dew, who does not want Coke and Pepsi, who's drinking our soda. And they realized that it was, they realized what their key differentiators were. They have more caffeine, right? They taste a little different. It's a little bit more of like an extreme out there on the edge kind of thing. So they realized that the people that drink Mountain Dew are people who are a little bit more extreme. Maybe they like extreme sports. It's people who want the extra caffeine. And so they started to build their audience and their brand just around that idea, that idea of being more extreme, more out there, more outside of the mainstream. And so you see, even to this day, Mountain Dew has that different persona. When they do a Super Bowl commercial, it's crazy music and really crazy things are happening, like taxidermied animals are coming off the wall and dancing. And it's a more extreme brand because they're not speaking to everyone. They're speaking to people who see themselves as outside of the mainstream. Now, how does that relate to us? If you're a personal trainer who is going to your market and saying, I help women lose weight, or I help busy moms get their bodies back, it doesn't work because it doesn't really speak to anyone. Yes, moms are busy, but all moms are busy. It's not enough. And it's not enough to evoke an emotion. So when you say I help busy moms get their bodies back, what happens is that the busy moms hear that and they say, yeah. Like I'm hearing that all day long. Now, I want you to contrast that against saying something that has a few more differentiators in it. Something like, I help nurses who are too busy to work out find the time and make progress. And even that might be a little bit too broad. Nurses is good because when you niche down into an industry, you can become the person for that industry and you can start to learn all of those little pain points that people in that industry have. But I would even go further. I would say, new moms who work full time, it's nurses. The more differentiators you can get into your message, the more you are speaking somebody's language. So the reason that you're watching me right now is not because you found out about me on TV, right? It's not because you saw me in some big venue. I differentiated by myself by building an audience of just fitness professionals who are looking to build direct to consumer businesses. That's how I've differentiated myself. If I was out there just saying I get small business owners results, nobody would care. Let me know if this is landing for you guys. Is this Consi's given me some light bulbs, so I'm super excited about that. That lets me know that you're understanding what I'm saying. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So point number 2 is that if you are not selling to the right people, then you are wasting your time and theirs. So you have to start to understand who picks up what you're laying down. And you do that, y'all. And we'll learn this next week in the Sell Out Your 2022 Business Kickstart. You do that by having conversations with them. So you really dig in and start to understand your people by getting to know your people. When you do that, you hear the way that they talk about their problems, you hear the specific problems that they're having, and you learn how to solve their problems for them. Then you are able to create solutions and sell them. All right, so if you're not selling to the right people, you are wasting your time and theirs. All right, so number 3, I want to talk about the difference between what we offer and what big boxes offer. So in 2022, and I heard this in the beginning of 2021 as well, people were saying there's no point in starting a direct to consumer business as a fitness professional because Peloton's got the market, Beachbody's got the market, Les Mills has the market, who else? iFit, Echelon, that they are all creating these big programs with the rock star instructors, and they've got all the marketing dollars. What does that sound like, y'all? Sounds very much like the cola wars we just talked about, right? We as individual fitness instructors have a very different thing going on than those big boxes. So the big boxes are going out and they're saying, work out with us, work out with us. If you look at the Peloton commercials, now Peloton is getting a little bit more savvy. If you remember last year in 2021 and at Christmas 2020, they had this commercial that really missed the mark, and they actually lost a lot of investor money because they had that commercial where the girl was like, oh, if I would have known how much this would change me, right? And they didn't understand who they were selling to because Peloton was not selling to people who want to change. You guys remember this? I want to dig in on this for a minute. There was this commercial. This girl, she makes a video, this woman, she makes a video of herself doing the Peloton for a year. Her husband buys it for her in like Christmas of 2019. And she makes a video of herself doing it every day for a year. And then at Christmas 2020, y'all, I just want to laugh when I think about this because it was so bad. So Christmas 2020, she gives him a video of herself. It's like a compilation of her doing this workout every day. She starts out, she's like super skinny, she's like 110 pounds. Christmas 2020 comes and she's been doing it for a year, and now she's like 109 pounds or something. Like she's a small girl. And then she says, I wouldn't have realized how much this would change me. And it was so cringy because it was like, first of all, what about you needed to be changed, and why? What is the change? Nobody sees it. And also, people who ride Pelotons because they already had an existing fitness practice in place for the most part, especially at that point in time. and they didn't need to change, right? So people who loved Peloton, especially in 2019, were most likely already avid riders or already in shape and just needed this thing for at home. Okay, so I think I've said enough about that. What I'm trying to say is this: the market for the big program, for Les Mills on Demand, and for Beachbody, and for all these different big box programs, for the most part, is people who have some sort of existing fitness practice in place. Now they're starting to try to market more to people who are beginners, but what they're going to miss is that personal connection piece. There is no way that they can have the same kind of connection that we have with our people. So there's, let's say, 20% of the total population has some sort of existing fitness practice in place. All of those big boxes, they're putting so much advertising money and so much research and development money into developing programs that work for that 20% so that they can sell to that 20%. Because it doesn't make sense for them to try to sell to the 80% that does not have an existing fitness practice in place, especially during most of the year, maybe during December, but that's it. We, as fitness professionals, we have the ability to go to Aunt Susie, who has been marginalized by the traditional fitness industry model, and say, Aunt Susie, I know that you're saying that you won't work out until you lose 10 pounds, right? Because that's a common thing that we hear from people who are intimidated or feeling afraid. But why don't you just come try my yoga class a couple times? Or, I've got a group of women who are all starting together next week, and I'm going to be leading them through like this couch to 5K thing. So I'm going to gently pull you from being a complete couch potato to knowing how to walk a mile, to knowing how to run a mile. And then in April or June, we're going to do a 5K. But you see how that's very different from what Peloton and Beachbody are selling. We have the ability as individuals to say, hey, sister, I know that you had a really rough birth experience, and I know you're dealing with diastasis recti, and I know that you're peeing your pants every time you sneeze. I have a friend who teaches a program for women just like you, and it starts next week, and I think you should check it out. We have the ability as individual fitness instructors and personal trainers to go direct to consumer and to reach our fingers and our tentacles out past the people who already have an existing fitness practice in place. We have the ability to really move the needle on the health and fitness of the entire population around us because we have those unique personalities that we can mix with our expertise and our education in order to create programs that will speak to individuals that have been marginalized by the traditional fitness industry. So what we can do for people around us is very different than what the big boxes can do. Does that make sense, y'all? Any questions on that? When I see Concy saying jackpot, thank you. Yeah, and she says monopoly, not everybody wants to go there. And that's true. The other thing about the big boxes is that a lot of people who subscribe to the big boxes subscribe to them as an augmentation to other things. So it's not an either or situation. When we were all going to the gym, what we would see is that the average really active participant had 3 gym memberships. Not 1, not 2, but 3 gym memberships. And so that has changed, but it has changed in the way that now they may have 1 gym membership and they've got 2 things going online. So 2 ways that you can take this last bullet point just this last bullet point and make it make money for you, number one, think about creating a program. So if there is anything in this world where you have got expertise in a special area, maybe you have taken care of a loved one that had a specific condition like Parkinson's, um, or maybe you've got extra training. Maybe you've had a job working with people that have had specific conditions. You can take that and make that into a program. If you lost 100 pounds a couple of years ago, you can take that story and that transformation and that experience and you can make it into a program. So we're going to talk a lot more about that next week as well in the Sell Out Your 2022 Business Kickstart. This is exactly what we do in that program. But what I want you to think about is the idea that you can create a program that speaks to a specific niche and to a specific transformation. So that's the first way. Now, what I love about transformational programs is that it is the best way to really leverage that one-to-many model and create a real income as a fitness professional. And then the second thing I want you to think about is the idea that you can serve more people than just those traditional movers and shakers, the traditional people who have a fitness practice in place. So think about the people around you who are interested in moving and working out. And think about bringing them in either into your programs or into your subscriptions. All right. So today we've talked about a few things. We talked about the idea that as fitness instructors and personal trainers, we already have this built-in superpower, right? Audience development. That is your built-in superpower. And I want you to take that one-to-many skill set that you've already got and start to leverage it to make income. And then we talked about the idea that if you aren't selling to the right people, you're wasting your time and theirs. So I want you to start digging in and getting really clear on who it is that you serve so that you know what their problems are, how they talk about them, and what products you need to create to help solve their problems. And then number three, we talked about the idea that what we do is very different than what the big boxes do, and that's a good thing. Program development, audience development, that is our superpower. All right, so I would love to hear what you think, y'all. Please comment and contribute to the conversation, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this in the replay. I'd love to hear what you think. I do come back, I read the comments, I come back and answer questions. So give me a hashtag replay if you're watching this in the replay. Give me a hashtag live squad if you're watching it live, and give me your reaction to this information. I'd love to hear what you are thinking about. And I love that Kansi is taking notes. Woo! All right. If you are watching on YouTube, so I simulcast this broadcast into Facebook as well as into YouTube and LinkedIn. If you are watching in LinkedIn, make sure that you follow me. If you are watching in YouTube, make sure that you like and subscribe. If you're watching in Facebook, I want to make sure that you are not only following me on Facebook, but that you are in the Grow Your Fitness Business for Instructors, Trainers, and Coaches group. That is my group where there are 8,100 fitness instructors and personal trainers working together. This is where we network. This is where we train. This is where I support you guys with answers to your questions and with this show every single week. Now, last thing, y'all, and this is really important. Listen up, listen really closely. I want you to get registered for the Sell Out Your 2022 Business Kickstart. That happens next week, starting on Monday at noon. So we're going to come in. I'm going to give a live lesson every day at noon, Monday through Thursday. I'm going to tell you so much. There's a workbook. There's a daily summary email. I'm going to teach you about how to create that offer that's going to sell. I'm going to teach you about how to price correctly in order to add value for your clients and make money. I'm going to teach you how to market to the right people, and I'm going to teach you how to have conversations that end up in sales without ever being sleazy or slimy. That is what I teach you next week. At 4 o'clock, we come back and we do homework implementation. So I will be back with you Monday through Wednesday, and I will be serving you further with homework implementation. So it is a super valuable week. I've had people come in and make $500 extra every single time they've taken that business kickstart. I've had people come in and make $2,000 the first time they do the business kickstart. So come in, do it with us. You register at fitprosconnect.com. That's fitpros. I'm going to type it in, connect.com/kickstart. Okay, so I'm typing it into the comments right there. Get in there, get registered. Y'all, it's going to be such a fire week. You will meet your best friends. You will love every single bit of it. We have so much fun and you will make money. My goal is that you 10x that investment that you give in registration. You 10x that by the end of the week with the amount of money that you make with your clients. All right, so get in there, get registered, fitprosconnect.com/kickstart. I will see you there, and thank you for being here, and I love you, and I'll see you guys Thursday on Instagram, where I will have June Kahn with me, and we're going to talk about the value of having multiple streams of income in your business. All right.